after everything has, you laid it down for us, Mr. Daniel Steinman, on, the inflation, but the question still remains. Like in the beginning of our talk, the question was how will Trump bring down inflation? And we have come to the last session of our talk, so we need to know now how this will happen.
Elsie, have you not been listening to what I've said? We don't know.
No.
Nobody knows.
But somehow you need to be able to give us...
What I take away from what he is saying in public, it's based mostly on his famous drill, baby. So he wants to open up Alaska as a carbon frontier, meaning they want to drill for oil there. He wants to expand oil extraction in mainland United States. He wants to promote offshore oil exploration, the same as we're doing here in the Orange Basin. So he is going to make available billions upon billions of government money, state money, to promote exploration in the oil industry, to basically flood the world with oil, to reduce the dependence of the Western world on Arabian oil, on Saudi Arabia, and on North Sea oil, and to make it for all the oil producing countries. He wants oil so cheap that if you want to have the same income, you have to sell more of it. Now immediately you can think of Angola, you can think of Venezuela and Colombia, even
exactly what I'm thinking now.
Brazil and Russia. They budget on a certain oil price because just like our economy is very dependent on diamonds, theirs are very dependent on oil. And they want a higher oil price because that relieves them of the need to incur the massive cost for exploration to find new oil fields. They're very comfortable with pumping the oil fields that they've got, selling at a certain price, provided that they have a control over that price. And the price is very easy to determine. You just look at the markets over a couple of years. It's around $80 US per barrel. If it goes below that, like it did in the last 2 weeks since beginning of January, then you immediately start seeing the reaction in amongst the economists and amongst investors, their analysts starting to tell you oil at $72 a barrel, too low. It's not good for investment. Now Mr. Trump wants this below $60 a barrel. There's a big difference between $80 a barrel, which is sort of regarded as the break-even mark, $72 a barrel that it was just 10 days ago, and $60 or below where he wants it. Now, I've discussed the fundamental aspects of cheaper energy, and obviously that will relieve us of the immediate cost of living crisis that we are still experiencing to a certain extent. We want inflation down. He wants inflation down. I've explained why. It's for his voters. He says we do it by flooding the world with oil. We bring down the prices, regardless of what it's going to do to the Angolan economy and to the Venezuelan economy and to the Russian economy, the Indian economy. All these oil-producing countries depend on a certain oil price, and he wants to undermine that. But at the same time, he wants to slap tariffs on imports from products from Mexico and Canada. There he's talking, what was it, 10% or 20%, and from China 60%, from the European Union if they don't reciprocate by buying American goods. And if you look at the figures on paper, on the hard black on white statistics, yes, it does make sense, because he's running trade deficits with all these countries. I read a report the other day. Canada, the United States import from Canada about 380 billion US a year, but Canada buys from the United States less than 200 billion a year. So there's a 180 billion trade deficit in favor of the Canadians. And this is something that, from a world economic perspective, you don't want. You sort of want a balance between trading partners. The same argument applies to China, and the same argument applies to Mexico. And whether you make security concerns part of the dispute or not, those are all irrelevant. At the end of the day, it's an economic question. The basic consideration is, how much do I buy from you and how much do you buy from me in return? And if there's a small difference in favor of the one trading partner in the 1 year, it is usually offset the next year by being to the benefit of the other trading partner. So it's a balanced system. When that system gets skewed, then you find the type of reaction that we have heard from Mr. Trump over the last year, and that we have seen his intention, that he's very hell-bent to actually implement it. But here's now the political side of it, and this is what I love so much. On his first day, he signed a zillion different presidential orders. Everything from how you must walk your dog to how you can close the border with Mexico.